out in front of all of you. I am very lucky and very fortunate to know and speak so highly of my popsy. I know he was very, very proud of each and every one of us because he catered to each of our personalities. My cousins on this side, the F cousins, they like bacon a certain way. The J cousins, they like bacon a certain way. Janelle, Jamie, Jared, Joshua, they like their food a certain way. Popsy will remember it, cook it all for everybody, have it on the table because he's been up at 5 o'clock with no alarm, just wearing his watch, and he knows exactly. So always just knows everything about everybody, remembers everybody's names, remembers everybody's faces. He will tell you, oh, do you know this person? This person did this, that, or the other. He was just always on top of his game from as long as Popsy has been Popsy. The only thing I didn't like was doing homework with Popsy. Oh my gosh, I am not good in math. And I get that from my mom. She gets that from my grandma. But Popsy believes in never using a calculator. And I believe in taking the easy way and making use of the technology that you have in hand. So Popsy is the only reason why I know how to do complicated fractions and do decimal points and long division and the Pythagorean theorem. I know all of those things because of my Popsy. The very constant things that I have with my Popsy that I will always remember is my Popsy did not own a pair of blue jeans because my Popsy was a well-dressed and well-put-together man. He was always khaki pants, khaki shorts, dark pants, dark shorts, and a collared shirt all the time. Lacoste, yes, that is his preference. If you're going to buy him something, it has to be that way. It has to be a collared shirt with 3 buttons, yes, please, or else not going to have it. When he liked a shoe, you don't ever buy him any other shoes, you just buy him the same one after that. Things that you will always find on Popsy that he will never be without is his watch. He always knows the time. He always keeps on time. We don't get that from him either. Not at all. We get that from Grandma and Mom. His rings. Popsy has 2 rings. 2 wonderful, beautiful rings. One is his wedding ring. Never without it. I've never, ever seen without it. That was the one thing that I saw him twisting around in his hand when he was saying goodbye to my grandma. And his ring from flight school. Beautiful ring. It is right here. Those are the 2 things that he would never take off. In the hospital, nope, you cannot take that off. The watch he'll take off, but the rings, they stay on him all the time. So that was a testament to his love for his wife and love for knowledge. Other things that he would wear is a scapular, always. Testament to his faith and his belief. My Popsy was a very soft-spoken man. Strong and silent is Popsy. And his scapular is something that just resonates in his faith, that he is more than, he's a very God-fearing, God-loving man. And I know that he was very comforted and he was really able to, it took us, I don't know if anybody knows this, Tita Gina most especially knows this, but from the time that Popsy was in the hospital, the very last admission, to up until his death, we could not find a priest to come to see Popsy. It was very difficult for us, and we were trying to pull strings and call people and see whoever could get us a priest. We just needed a priest to give Popsy the sacrament and give him that blessing. And on the day before he passed, which was Tuesday, we had the great fortune of having 2 priests, not 1, but 2 priests come and pray over Popsy. So I'm sure Popsy, and I know he was because he was still very responsive up until the last day, was more calm, wasn't really fighting the ventilator as much. Also, and I know My cousins on this side of the room, they will remember this very well because we had a lot of summers at our house, and our house was kind of the hub. And as little as it was, there were always people there, and that was something that Grandma and Popsy really loved, being around their grandchildren and being around their family. And my Popsy, I don't know how he did it, but if there were 3 kids, if there were 4 kids, if there were 13 kids in the house, he always had crab fried rice for everybody. And that is something that my cousins and I cherish very much. The memory of crab fried rice and pandesal is something that's very important. Carbs, right? Carbs are very important to the Filipinos. So my Popsy is and always will be my Popsy. There is no one that's going to take the place of my Popsy. And I just want everybody to know that yes, I know we're crying, and yes, I know I'm crying and I'm losing it in front of you, but we were surrounding him, and he was surrounded by his family and our love for him during his last few days. And he was there with us until the very end and very responsive. We were gathered all around the bedside, and Nina played his favorite song, and that's Tie a Yellow Ribbon. And it is a wonderful song. And despite the ventilator, despite the intubation, despite all of the medications that we're going through, Popsy was able to squeeze our hands and raise his eyebrows. And if he wasn't intubated, I'm sure he would have started singing along with us. So those are my good memories, just a few of them, of just my absolutely amazing and wonderful and my Renaissance man Popsy, who loves to sing and loves to dance and loves his family. I'm sure you all have your own memories of him. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for supporting our family, and thank you so much for sharing all of your good memories and your good times with him, because I know that my Popsy, he's very silent, but he loves a good time. He won't admit to that, but that's my Popsy. So thank you very much.
In his military uniform is something I remember the most. The way he carried himself and acted. You would think he was strict, but he wasn't. He was soft-spoken and kind-hearted, a man with few words. And when he gave you that disappointed look, you really didn't want to mess with him. That's what made me respect him the most out of all the uncles. Once at their farm in San Pedro, Laguna, when me and Jomer slingshot some neighbor's chicken and they complained to him, he talked to us, but it wasn't something we took seriously, because a couple of days later, we did it again. But this time he had enough. He took them away from us, and that was the end of it. As I was growing up planning to join the military, Uncle Feli would be the prime example the family would bring up, to be just like him. He was a role model that I looked up to, and I'm pretty sure Cousin Ging and Cousin Popong as well. Years passed as we saw each other again in the US. Today, I can still remember him coming up to me, hugging and congratulating me because I made it in the Navy. Seeing the joy in his face made me realize that he was really happy for me. Since then, I felt a certain closeness to him, like that you feel for a father. It's a feeling only a fellow veterans have for each other. During family parties, I would make sure I sit next to him. He would share war stories with each other. He would tell me about the war with the Japanese and how he was part of the Death March in Bataan. As time passes, our conversation changed. From talking about war stories to talking about basketball, especially the Spurs, the team we both love. And we talk about what medication we took. Man, we're getting old. 2 months ago at Cousin Len's house, I saw him again. I went to him for our ritual talks, but something was different. He looked weak and tired. Not much talking happened that night. No stories or laugh. just silence. I knew something was wrong, but knowing Uncle, he would be stronger the next time we see each other. I guess I was wrong. Because the next time I would see him, it would be in the hospital bed. Seeing him just lying there with a respirator just destroyed me in the inside. Seeing the man I looked up to for all my life lying in this bed, I couldn't handle it. I sat there holding his hand, reminiscing about the old stories we once shared to each other. There was silence in the room until Leanne came up to me and told me that every time she asked if she was okay or if he was hurting, he would just say no. That hit me because I realized what Uncle Feli is to me. A man that will fight to the very end. A man that will endure the pain so that the people he cares for the most will not have to. I share my story today because I want the young ones here in this room to hear it. I want you guys to spend more time with your family, more importantly, to your aunts and uncles. Find time to sit next to them and share stories. One day, when it's our time to leave, you would find that those little time you spend with them will be treasured for the rest of your life. Uncle Feli, you flew high, aimed high, and won, just like what the Air Force told you to do. We love you, Uncle. Bye.